Success begins in the mind. That simple truth, once fully understood, can change the entire direction of your life. Every result you see around you, your finances, your relationships, your health, started first as a thought, a belief, or a habit in your thinking. Before someone becomes wealthy, before they ever build a business or lead a team or invest their first dollar, they build a way of thinking that supports and attracts success. So that's why it's not about what's in your bank account first. It's about what's in your thought life. Millionaires don't just earn more. They think differently. Their thought patterns are disciplined, intentional, and directed by long-term purpose. They think in terms of value creation. They ask questions like, what can I offer? How can I solve this problem? What's the return on this habit over time? Meanwhile, most people are stuck reacting to the world around them, thinking only in terms of comfort or survival. How do I pay this bill? What do I feel like doing today? The gap between those two kinds of thinking is the gap between scarcity and abundance. When you begin to understand that everything in your outer world starts with your inner world, you stop blaming and you start building. You stop waiting and you start creating. That's the shift. Millionaire thinking isn't about arrogance or ego. It's about responsibility, taking full ownership of your mind, your focus, your energy, and your decisions. It's the refusal to let old programming, excuses, or distractions steal your future. It begins with awareness. Awareness of the stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you inherited, the influences you allow in. Most people have never taken a moment to examine their own thinking. They're running on autopilot, using mental software they never chose, repeating patterns they picked up from childhood, school, or society. But a millionaire mindset is the result of conscious thought. It's chosen. It's crafted. It's upgraded over time. They read to upgrade their understanding. They journal to process. They surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking, not just validate their comfort zones. There's no magic pill, no shortcut, just a choice made daily to grow mentally. Because once you grow mentally, the doors to financial, relational, and personal growth swing wide open. Train your mind to think in terms of cause and effect. If I do this, what will be the result in 3 months? In 3 years? That's how the wealthy think. They train their mind to delay gratification, to stay focused when others drift, to say no when others say yes to distractions. They know that freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like. It comes from mastering your inner world so you can build your outer one. And don't miss this, the millionaire mind is not concerned with appearance, it's concerned with effectiveness. While others are chasing likes, approval, or status symbols, the millionaire mind is focused on leverage, systems, skills, and strategy. That's why you can meet someone who looks rich but is broke and someone else who looks modest but owns assets, controls time, and builds legacies. All of it starts in the mind. Your future is not a mystery. It's a mirror. It reflects how you think. You want to change your income. Change how you interpret value. Want better relationships. Change how you communicate and listen. Want to be healthier. Change how you think about food, rest, and movement. Everything flows from how you think. So if success begins in the mind, then today is your opportunity to start training it. Not tomorrow. It's not when it's convenient. Right now. Begin with awareness. Feed your mind what it needs. Protect it from what drains it. Challenge it to grow, not just feel good. Because the mind is like a muscle. Ignore it and it weakens. Train it and it will serve you for life. You don't need luck. You need leverage. And the greatest leverage is a trained mind. Think like a millionaire long before you ever become one. And soon you'll realize you were one the whole time. Mindset over money. That phrase holds more weight than most people realize. In fact, it is the foundation upon which financial freedom and true success are built. It's easy to chase money. People do it every day. Working longer hours, switching jobs, launching ventures. But if the mindset behind those actions isn't right, the results never last. That's why so many people who win the lottery lose everything within a few years. They got the money, but they never developed the mind to manage, multiply, and sustain it. Money is a byproduct, not a starting point. The way you think about money, value, time, effort, and even failure determines how much of you attract and retain. The millionaire mind doesn't chase cash. It builds the capacity to create it again and again. It doesn't rely on one lucky break. It relies on principles, discipline, and long-term thinking. And all of that lives in your mindset. Your mindset is your internal programming. It shapes how you see problems, how you process opportunities, and how you respond to challenges. If your mindset is focused on scarcity, you'll always feel there's not enough time, money, support, talent. And if that's what you believe, that's what you'll live out. But if your mindset is grounded in abundance, you'll begin to look for possibilities, for leverage, for growth. You'll train yourself to ask better questions. How can I learn from this? What's the next right move? Who can help me go further? That's the difference. People with poor mindsets think money is the solution to their problems. People with rich mindsets know that money is a tool, but the real solution is growth. Growth in thinking, growth in skills, growth in habits. Because if you gave someone with a poor mindset $1 million today, they'd likely turn it into debt. But give a person with the right mindset nothing but a book, a phone, and time, and they'll find a way to build wealth from scratch. That's why changing your financial life doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. Start with how you see yourself. Do you believe you're capable of building wealth? Do you believe you deserve financial stability, freedom, and abundance? Because if you don't believe that internally, your external efforts will always hit invisible walls. Your actions will never rise above your self-concept. And mindset isn't just about belief, it's about behavior. The millionaire mindset takes full responsibility for outcomes. It doesn't wait for rescue. It doesn't blame the government, the market, or the family history. It recognizes all those things, sure, but it doesn't surrender to them. Instead, it asks you, what can I control? What can I improve? What can I learn? That's power. That's leverage. A mindset trained for success also understands value. Money follows value. The more value you can provide, the more people you can help. The more problems you can solve, the more wealth you can build. But that only happens if your mindset is focused outward, not just inward. People with the right mindset are students of human nature, of business principles, of strategy. They understand that learning is not a phase, it's a lifelong pursuit. They seek wisdom, not just comfort. And here's the truth many don't want to hear: if you don't upgrade your mindset, even if you do get rich, you'll live in fear. Fear of losing it. Fear of failure. Fear of being exposed. Because deep down, you'll know you never became the kind of person who could sustain success. That's why mindset must come first. It gives you peace before profit, direction before dollars, and character before cash. You don't need more money to think like a millionaire. You need more clarity, more discipline, and more responsibility in your thinking. Stop waiting for the breakthrough. Start becoming the kind of thinker who earns it. Because when you master your mindset, money becomes a result, not a mystery. Discipline is the seed of fortune. It's not talent. It's not connections. It's not luck. It's the daily decisions you make when no one is watching. Discipline is the quiet force that turns average efforts into extraordinary outcomes. It's what separates those who merely dream of success from those who actually achieve it. The path to any form of wealth, financial, personal, or spiritual, must travel through discipline. There's no shortcut, no way around it. It is the price of admission to greatness. Discipline means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. It means getting up early to study, to plan, to work, while others sleep, scroll, or procrastinate. Millionaires are not more motivated than everyone else. They are simply more disciplined. They've trained their minds to obey their values, not their moods. Where others wait to feel inspired, they act from commitment. Because they understand something crucial: emotion is temporary, but discipline builds momentum. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you have to start by mastering your habits. You can't afford to live by impulse. Every day, your habits are either making you richer or poorer, stronger or weaker, closer or farther from your goals. Success is not one massive act of brilliance. It's the accumulation of consistent, disciplined behavior over time. Saving a portion of your income each month, reading every day. It's working on your skills instead of wasting time. These don't seem revolutionary in the moment, but do them for 5 years and your life will be unrecognizable. Discipline is also about integrity. It's keeping your word to yourself. When you tell yourself you'll wake up at 6 and you do it, you build trust in your own power. When you say you'll finish the project and you follow through, you strengthen your confidence. Millionaires don't just build businesses, they build themselves. They craft their character through repeated acts of discipline, and that character becomes the foundation for everything else they do. Now, discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't come with applause. In fact, it often feels boring, difficult, or thankless. But it always pays. In a world where most people want instant gratification, the disciplined person becomes rare and valuable because they can be trusted to follow through. They can be counted on to show up, and they're the ones who end up with the results others only talk about. Discipline is also the cure for distraction. In a world full of noise, temptation, and entertainment, the disciplined mind knows how to focus. It doesn't chase every new idea or waste hours on meaningless tasks. It works the plan. It honors the schedule. It guards its time like gold. Because time once gone cannot be replaced. Millionaire minds treat every hour as an investment. Not in business, but in progress. And here's the key: discipline compounds. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. The small sacrifices you make today, like turning off the TV, waking up earlier, budgeting your money, will grow into a life of freedom. That's the irony. Discipline feels like restriction in the beginning, but it creates freedom in the end. The freedom to live without debt. The freedom to walk away from toxic situations. The freedom to say yes to opportunities others can't afford. If you look at anyone who has built real success, you will find discipline at the core. Not just once, but daily. Whether it's in how they think, how they eat, how they speak, or how they spend their time, discipline drives the wheel. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be steady. So if you want fortune, real, lasting fortune, plant the seed of discipline today. Water it with action, protect it with purpose, and watch it grow into a life that most only dream about. Environment shapes thinking. That's a truth most people overlook, yet it quietly determines the direction of your life. You might have the greatest goals, the best intentions, and strong motivation, but if you're surrounded by the wrong environment, physically, socially, or mentally, your growth will be stunted. Just as a plant needs the right soil, sunlight, and climate to flourish, your mind needs the right atmosphere to thrive. Millionaire minds are not formed in random places. They are cultivated in intentional environments that challenge, stretch, and elevate thought. Think about it. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If you're constantly around people who complain, who make excuses, who fear risk, who mock ambition, it becomes harder to maintain your drive. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Environment is not just about influence, it's about exposure. What you hear, see, and absorb daily shapes what you believe is normal, acceptable, and possible. That's why people with a millionaire mindset are extremely protective of their environment. They know their thoughts are influenced by what surrounds them. They seek conversations that spark growth. They read books that stretch their thinking. They follow mentors and leaders who challenge them to operate at a higher level. They eliminate distractions, clutter, and toxic influences, not because they're better than anyone else, but because they understand the power of environment. Your physical space matters too. If your surroundings are disorganized and chaotic, it reflects and affects your thinking. Clarity in your environment creates clarity in your mind. Millionaires often create spaces that promote focus, clean desks, purposeful routines, intentional decor. It's not about luxury, it's about function. A focused environment produces focused results. Social environment plays an even bigger role. If you're the smartest or most driven person in your circle, you're in the wrong room. Growth comes from challenge. It comes from being around people who make you feel a little uncomfortable in the best way. People who've done more than you, who think bigger, who hold you to a higher standard. That kind of environment doesn't coddle, it elevates. It forces you to question your limits and adopt new ways of thinking. Even digital environments matter. The content you consume daily is programming your mind. Are you scrolling through noise, drama, and distraction? Or are you feeding your mind with education, insight, and strategy? Millionaire thinkers curate their feed just like they curate their habits. They're not aimlessly consuming content, they're deliberately feeding their vision. It's not just about removing negative influences, it's about replacing them with positive, growth-oriented ones. Remove the gossip, add a great podcast, turn off the background noise, put on a motivational audiobook, unfollow the complainers, follow the builders. Every small decision adds up over time. These shifts change your internal wiring. You must take responsibility for your environment. If you can't change your surroundings completely right now, change what you can. Start small. Rearrange your workspace. Spend more time with one person who challenges you. Join a mastermind group or an online community where growth is the norm. Visit places that expand your imagination. Libraries, conferences, seminars, even nicer neighborhoods. Your mind responds to what it's exposed to. Stretch it and it won't go back to its original shape. Understand this, your environment will either reinforce your current mindset or help you break into a new one. If you want to think like a millionaire, you need to place yourself in environments where millionaire thinking is encouraged, modeled, and expected. Over time, you'll find that your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors start to align with the environment you've created. So take inventory. Look around. Who do you talk to every day? What do you look at, listen to, and engage with? Is it building your future or reinforcing your past? Because the truth is simple, you will rise or fall to the level of your environment. So build one that supports the version of you that you're becoming, not the one you're trying to escape. Read, learn, reflect. These are not just academic exercises, they are the habits of high achievers and wealth builders. One of the defining characteristics of a millionaire mindset is the commitment to lifelong learning. It's not about collecting degrees or showing off knowledge. It's about sharpening the mind daily, feeding it with better ideas, refining one's worldview, and continuously upgrading one's decision-making abilities. The most successful people in the world are learners first. They understand that growth is not an event, it's a process. Reading is one of the most powerful tools available to anyone who wants to train their mind for success. Books are condensed wisdom. In just a few hours, you can gain the insights someone took decades to earn through trial, error, and experience. Whether it's business strategy, human psychology, financial education, leadership, or personal development, reading equips you to think deeper and act smarter. Millionaire minds consume books not just for inspiration, but for application. They ask, how can I use this, rather than was this entertaining? The simple habit of reading 15-30 minutes a day can completely rewire your thinking over time. It shifts your focus from reacting to life to directing it. It fills your mind with new strategies, broader perspectives, and timeless truths. But it doesn't stop at reading. Learning is the ongoing act of observation and adaptation. It happens in books, in conversations, in failures, and in quiet moments of insight. Millionaires don't just learn from success, they learn from setbacks. They treat every experience as a lesson. Learning isn't passive, it's active. It requires curiosity and humility. You have to be willing to say, I don't know everything. That mindset alone is a major difference between stagnant people and growing individuals. Those who believe they've arrived stop evolving, but those who keep learning stay ahead. They remain students of life, of business, of leadership, of people. They ask questions, attend seminars, watch educational content, and surround themselves with people who stretch their thinking. Reflection is the bridge between knowledge and wisdom. You can read all the books and listen to all the podcasts, but if you never stop to reflect, you'll miss the most valuable insights. Reflection helps you internalize lessons, extract meaning, and make smarter choices moving forward. It helps you ask the right questions. What worked? What didn't? What did I learn? What can I do differently next time? Millionaire minds reflect often, not just on wins, but on mistakes, habits, relationships, and results. They take time to think, to evaluate, and to plan. That's how they refine their approach and avoid repeating avoidable mistakes. Learning and reflection create awareness, and awareness leads to transformation. The more you know about yourself, your triggers, tendencies, strengths, and gaps, the more effectively you can lead your life and your business. That's why millionaires prioritize personal development. They invest in coaching, courses, masterminds, and books, not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because they understand that they are their greatest asset. And when you grow the mind, everything else grows with it. These habits also build resilience. When you're constantly learning and reflecting, you're less likely to be shaken by setbacks. You've trained your mind to adapt, to stay grounded, and to keep moving forward with better insight. In a world that changes quickly, the ability to learn faster than the competition becomes one of your greatest advantages. Millionaires know this. They don't fear change. They prepare for it through constant learning. And perhaps most importantly, reading, learning, and reflecting keep you humble and hungry. You realize there's always another level to reach. There's always more to understand. And that perspective fuels the journey, not just to wealth, but to a meaningful, purpose-driven life. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building a foundation that lasts. So if you want to train your mind like a millionaire, don't neglect this simple truth. Your growth will be in direct proportion to how much you learn and how often you reflect. Open a book, take notes, ask questions, review your day, and repeat. Do this consistently, and over time, you will not only think like a millionaire, you will begin to live like one. Wealth is more than just numbers in a bank account. It's about building value. Real wealth builders understand that money is a reflection of the value you bring to the marketplace. It's not about chasing dollars. It's about increasing your capacity to contribute, solve problems, and create impact. When you focus on becoming a person of value, someone who provides solutions, someone who uplifts others, someone who adds to the world, money becomes a natural byproduct of your efforts. This shift in perspective is what separates short-term earners from long-term wealth creators. Building value starts with asking the right question: how can I help? Every product, every service, every successful business exists because someone figured out how to solve a problem. If you want to earn more, become better at solving bigger problems. The size of your income will rarely exceed the size of the problems you're willing to face and fix. Millionaire minds don't shy away from complexity. They study it, lean into it, and figure out how to bring clarity and resolution. That's where value is born. To build value, you must first build yourself. The more you grow, intellectually, emotionally, professionally, the more you have to offer. That's why personal development is not optional, it's essential. The marketplace does not reward need, it rewards value. And your ability to produce value depends on your skills, your insight, your emotional intelligence, your leadership, and your problem-solving capabilities. The greater your contribution, the greater your compensation. And value doesn't just mean being smart or talented. It means being reliable, trustworthy, and consistent. People of value deliver on promises. They exceed expectations. They create experiences that others remember and respect. So whether you're an employee, an entrepreneur, or a creative, your reputation for value will always precede you. Millionaire minds understand this and work relentlessly to make sure their name is associated with excellence, integrity, and impact. Value also comes from understanding people. The more you know about what others want, need, and struggle with, the better positioned you are to offer solutions they'll pay for. This requires empathy, listening, and observation. Some of the most successful people are not the loudest or the flashiest. They're the most attentive. They notice gaps, they see what others miss, and they step in to offer what others can't or won't. Creating value requires innovation. You can't keep doing what everyone else is doing and expect uncommon results. Millionaire thinkers ask themselves regularly, how can I improve this? How can I serve better? How can I make this simpler, faster, more affordable, more enjoyable? They look for ways to elevate standards, streamline systems, and expand access. That's what makes them stand out, and that's what builds long-term wealth. And here's another truth: value multiplies when you help others win. The more people you help succeed, the more doors open for you. Whether through mentorship, collaboration, or service, lifting others is one of the highest forms of value. It creates loyalty, trust, and goodwill, assets that money can't buy. Millionaires often didn't start out trying to make millions. They started by serving millions. And in doing so, they built something far greater than just income. They built influence. You must also recognize that building value is not a one-time effort. It's a continual commitment to excellence. It means constantly asking yourself, am I growing? Am I contributing more today than I did yesterday? Complacency is the enemy of value. When you stop improving, you start declining. Millionaire minds stay sharp, stay curious, and stay committed to growth, not because they're chasing more, but because they're committed to becoming more. So if wealth is your goal, let value be your strategy. Invest in your skills, refine your mindset, understand your market, care about people, and deliver results. Build something that matters, solve problems worth solving. And remember, your income will always rise to meet the level of value you consistently bring. Don't chase money, chase mastery, and money will follow.